As fishermen, there's a term that we hear all of the time: match the hatch. When you're choosing bait color, match your bait color to the forage that those fish are feeding on. But what if I were to tell you that there's 4 colors I carry in my boat all year long that I believe help me catch more fish? Let's dive into it. When I was first getting into bass fishing, I heard about all of these regional colors, whether it's Rayburn Red when you're going down to fish Texas lakes, whether it's Junebug for Florida, Plum for southern lakes, or up here for spawning smallmouth, you need to have a pink or chartreuse bait to catch those spawners. What if I were to tell you that there's 4 colors I always keep in my boat that I believe anglers should be carrying as well? In this video, I'm going to break down what those 4 colors are, how I use them, and why I think you should carry those baits as well in your lakes to help you catch more fish. Now, if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Benjamin Nowak, and this channel is dedicated to teaching you bass fishing tips, taking you on trips, and teaching you about things like 4 colors you don't have that you should be carrying in your boat. So if you guys enjoy that style of content, go down there, hit the subscribe button, consider growing the community by subscribing to the channel, and hit that like button if you guys enjoy this style of content. But without further ado, let's dive into this thing. Now, when you start to think about colors that you don't carry that maybe you should, or unique colors that you fish, I'm sure there's some baits that come to mind, whether it's a smoke gold purple tube that you fish that you don't think other guys are throwing, or whether it's a certain color variation that you think helps you catch more fish. In today's video, I'm going to break down my top 4 colors that I use all year long that I believe other anglers should be carrying and fishing as well. I'm going to give you guys my scenarios when I'm fishing these colors to have success on the lake. Now, the first color that I'm going to talk about probably won't come as a surprise, especially with me being a smallmouth angler, but that is chartreuse. If you guys have ever watched Mr. Mark Zona or heard about smallmouth anglers, they talk about the color chartreuse a lot, and that's because it's so effective at catching fish. But a lot of guys will put this bait down outside of the spawn. The only time they'll pick up a chartreuse caffeine shad or chartreuse bait is when those fish are up shallow, they're spawning, they need to be able to see those fish react to this lure, and they'll put this bait down outside of the spawn. But I'm here to tell you guys that this bait, this color, chartreuse, is so effective outside of the spawn. It's so effective all year long, and that's why I had to have it as a staple color in the Excite Minobi bait that I designed. We came up with this color called Caution, and this is a color that I'll go to when the water gets off colored. When I know smallmouth are still in an area and they don't want to bite your natural colors, your green pumpkins, your blacks, your smoke purples, the chartreuse is a really good way to get those fish to still see your bait in that off-color water and come over and eat it. It's also a phenomenal bait for largemouth. Now, I'm not saying you need to go to all chartreuse for largemouth. I do think it has a time and place. But for largemouth, I also like to include some chartreuse in my baits. And I think that's why it's built in, or a staple color for a lot of companies such as Z-Man in a lot of their baits. They'll have a chartreuse base or chartreuse bottom to a lot of their baits. And chartreuse is a color that I think it's overlooked because of how bright and gaudy it is. But especially in dirtier water situations, I like to pick up a chartreuse lure because it will trigger fish or draw fish and stand out in that dirtier water. It's a high contrast color that will draw fish to a bait to come over and still look at it, even in dirtier water situations. Another time that I think chartreuse gets overlooked is in situations when those fish are aggressively feeding and there's massive amounts of bait. A lot of times, one of the struggles that we have, especially when there's tons and tons and tons of bait in an area, is actually getting fish to key in on our lure as opposed to all of the shad or all of the perch or all of the bluegill in an area. So by going to a chartreuse bait, like a chartreuse swim bait or a chartreuse whatever it is, you can help your bait stand out from the rest and will trigger fish to bite when they're aggressively feeding and there's a ton of bait around. So in my opinion, chartreuse is great in dirty water situations, and it really helps when you're in a high pressure situation when those fish recognize that there's a ton of bait in an area and they're trying to pick out your lure. Going to something with a chartreuse base or chartreuse body will help you catch more fish. The next color I want to talk to you guys about is one that I've basically been fishing my entire fishing career. It was really shown to me by my buddy Andy Meyer, my mentor, the guy that really got me into bass fishing. And it's a color that is dominant, in my opinion, especially in warmer weather months. Your early summer, basically through early fall, this is a color that stays on the deck of my boat, whether I'm largemouth or smallmouth fishing. This is a really dominant color. Pumpkin green flake or root beer green flake. It's more of an amber base with a ton of green flake in it. And it's not just a largemouth color. My buddy Brant Shredder's really got me on this color. He caught, I believe, 27.5 pounds with me, kicked my butt fishing this color tube, and it's really been a staple in my arsenal since then. Seeing the way that fish react to this, I think it looks like those crawdads during the summertime. It's more of a translucent amber color, and that green flake really stands out. It just catches a bunch of fish. If you guys don't have this color in your arsenal, especially in those warmer weather months, I'd recommend picking it up. I like it during the summertime. I'm sure it works all year long, but this root beer green or green pumpkin, green flake, or crazy craw colored tube is an absolute staple in my arsenal, and it's a phenomenal warm water color. Now the next color I want to talk about is one that I really didn't fish until the past year, but it's a color that was designed by probably the most famous angler ever, and that is KVD Kick. Smallmouth anglers, especially around St. Clair and Erie area, probably know the color KVD Kick in the tubes because it's such a dominant tube color for those fishermen down there. But now the color that I fished was this spicy melon color from Great Lakes Finesse. There's something about this color, that translucent green with a little bit of silver and I think gold and black flake, that makes this bait catch fish in situations where they don't want to bite anything else. It's a super natural presentation. It's very finessey. This is the baby bass color in the Berkeley Max scent. This is John Cox's favorite color in the general. It's his favorite color when he's fishing shallow. It looks like a lot of different bait fish and forage, but for smallmouth and largemouth alike, this is a very, very dominant color. When I like to fish this color is when the water has normal or good visibility. When it's a sunny day, those fish are really pressured, they seem really finicky, and they're feeding on either little shiners or perch in shallow water. This color in the Spicy Melon and Great Lakes Finesse, KVD Kick if you're looking at Strike King models, or Baby Bass in the Berkeley Power Bait, is just an absolutely dominant color. There's something about the way that this bait looks in the water that draws fish to this that won't eat any other color. I've thrown it next to black, green pumpkin, I've thrown it next to a bunch of different colors, and these fish will eat this spicy melon color or baby bass or whatever color you want to call it in situations where I can't get them to eat other baits. The other thing that's really unique about this color is that in the water, it almost blends in. It looks very, very natural, but that flake in there on those clear, sunny days kind of refracts a little bit of light. You can see it coming through the water, having a little bit of sheen on the bait, and I think it looks like very natural bait fish. So this is a color, whether it's Great Lakes Finesse, the Spicy Melon, the Baby Bass, the KVD Kick, whatever you want to call it, this is a color I would recommend putting in your boat, whether you're a smallmouth or largemouth angler, because it's really dominant under certain situations. It's one of those colors you might have to gain some confidence in, but I promise you it's become a staple for me in those clear water, sunny conditions. Now the last color that I'm going to talk to you guys about is one that really, really shocked me. I thought it was a regional color. I thought it was a color that wouldn't work up here in the Midwest, but I found it to work all over, even up into Canada, down in Tennessee. This is a color that I've thrown across the country, and it absolutely works. I tied up some jigs in this color for Alex, and he took it down to Tennessee and was smashing fish on it. And the color I'm talking about is a purple-based lure, like a June bug or a plum-style worm. This color, this plum purple June bug-style bait is phenomenally effective. Where I found it to work the best, especially when I started using this color, was in tannic-style bodies of water. We have a lot of tannic bodies of water, had a lot of tannic bodies of water up here in Michigan. But then I started fishing it in dirty water situations where I'd normally fish a black and blue. There's something about this June bug color that is absolutely dominant to catch hard to catch fish in dirty water situations. I think they've seen a lot of black and blue, and so when you start to fish these purple-based colors, these June bug baits, they stand out, and I believe it looks like a bluegill in the water, especially that June bug. Now, I know out of the package it looks really silly. It's basically just a purple lure with some green flash in it, but I think it looks like a bluegill swimming through the water. It looks silly, but when you start to cast this bait out and watch the way it looks in the water, it kind of looks like a bluegill. Another really, really good one is this MM3 or Margarita Mutilator from RoboWorm. This is a color that obviously is popular all across the country, but it crushes fish up here in the Midwest as well. These purple-based baits work really, really well in dirty or off-colored water. So if you guys aren't fishing these purple color lures, I would definitely recommend picking some up. Start with what you're most confident in. If it's flipping a jig, replace your black and blue with a purple-based lure. If you love fishing a worm in dirtier water, replace your black worm with a purple worm. I would love to hear stories about you guys catching fish on some of these unique colors. So those are my 4 colors that I fished that I think other anglers don't. That chartreuse, that root beer green, the KVD kick, that kind of baby bass style color, and that purple based or June bug colored lure. I would love to know if there's other colors that you use that are maybe non-conventional. Maybe some lures that stand out or help you catch fish that are secret to you that you don't mind sharing down there in the comment section down below. I also really love all the engagement we've been having recently. There's whole conversations happening down in the comment section, which means a lot. It helps me connect with you guys a little bit differently as opposed to me just talking to a camera. So I really love the engagement. But if there's certain pieces of content or styles of content you'd like to see in the future, let me know down in the comment section down below because it'll help me tailor this content to you guys. But if you guys want to learn about how to fish a Nico rig, my top 3 keys to fishing a Nico rig, click that video right there. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Take care, tight lines. God bless. Pursue your passion.